Hello and welcome to Knitting with Jean. The time has come for the final episode of this season, and I'm going to be showing you some of the pieces of equipment that you might need. Last week we looked at reading a pattern, and I hope you've been practicing all your stitches. So enjoy! Hello and welcome to Knitting with Jean. This episode I'm going to show you some of the pieces of equipment that I think you'll need if you're going to become serious about your knitting. Let's begin. I think the most important thing is probably to choose your wool for whatever you're going to knit. I've said to you earlier that if you're just practicing stitches, it's a good idea to use a good chunky wool and a pair of quite chunky needles. These are a size 5mm. Don't get them too long if you're just beginning, and don't try to do too many stitches all at once. But start out with chunky. It means you can see the definition of your stitches as you go along and learn from your mistakes. Then, as you progress, you might want to try some different wools. There's so much on the market these days. This is double knitting wool, and it's got a stripe in it, so you don't need to use different coloured wools. You just keep using the same wool. This is an Aran wool, which is a little bit heavier. I used it to make this little jumper. And you can also, I have a very fine wool here. This is just a 4-ply. This is pretty much for a specialist knitter, but you'll come to it. And then there's lovely things like this for baby wool. You might like to try that if you're knitting for babies. And baby garments are a good choice to start with, because babies don't mind if there's the odd wonky stitch, and they're small and you get them finished easier, which is encouraging. So you can just start off with just one pair of needles, and actually there's something I haven't shown you. You can buy needles, they're like this, look. It's called a circular needle. And if you're doing a small garment with very few stitches, you'd use a short one like this. But if you're doing a longer garment, like the one I'm doing, you use a longer needle. They can be used for knitting in the round, but they can also be used just as like ordinary needles, and you knit back and forth on them. And they're very handy. And you can get all sorts of lovely ones, but you need to buy the size that you want, and you need to look at the length that you want. But you'll find that sort of information on your pattern. You'll also need a tape measure to measure your work, because sometimes it'll tell you how many rows to do, but sometimes it'll say how many centimetres to do, or how many inches, if you're old school like me. And other things are stitch holders. Come in small sizes and large sizes, and quite often you'll need that when you're coming to the end of a piece of a garment to hold the stitches for a neck while you complete the shoulders. Another very necessary piece of equipment, pair of good sharp scissors for cutting your wool. Don't try breaking it. It's not good for you, and it's not good for the wool. Let's see what else I have. Oh, this is very special. I treated myself to this quite recently. It's a lovely set of all different sizes of needles in a case. And it's really handy for whenever you're travelling to hold them, and keeps them all safe. You'll also need a bag or something, a box maybe, to keep all your work in. I made this one, look. So, but use whatever. Sometimes just a carrier bag from the supermarket is all right. Let's see, you'll need a pen. It's a very good idea in the early days, if you can't count your stitches, just to use a piece of paper and do a tick every time you do a row, and then you'll know where you are. When you get really good and you're doing cables, you'll need cable needles. So there's a lot of different things. You don't need to buy them all at once, but it's fun sometimes just to go browsing in your local wool shop, or when you're on holiday. I always look to see where the nearest wool shop is. Oh, here's another thing you might need. A needle to sew your wool, because you can't do it with an ordinary small needle. You'll need what's called a wool needle. It's got a big eye, and it's the best thing for sewing up wool. They come in all sorts of packets, but as I say, you enjoy looking for them. and building this up. You don't need to buy it all at once, but you will need some of it as time goes on. Well, I think that's enough for today. We've covered quite a lot, so you have a lot to think about. Well, the time has come for this season to end. I've really enjoyed teaching you how to knit, and I hope you've enjoyed it too. So remember, keep practicing your stitches, keep trying, and I'll see you again. Goodbye.